welcome back to the mess that is my shop. Today I'm going to see if I can get this Airco welder that I picked up last summer and had a chance to play with. We're going to find out if it'll weld. I have not so much as messed with this thing since I brought it home. I didn't have time. I got that and this other beast that I'll show you guys later for a really good price last summer. And I've been using my little Lincoln Zappy box that I've had forever, and it's time for something bigger so I can do my fabrication larger work with the MIG, because as it is right now I have to resort to stick welding, which is not convenient at all. It doesn't produce a very good quality looking weld unless you spend a lot of time cleaning up afterwards. Really, it just isn't what I want to use. So I just put the gun back on it, and now comes the time where I plug it in and put power to it. Now I know it runs. When I picked it up, I tried out the power function, but I didn't know how the thing actually worked because it came with this spool gun, which is awesome. It came with an aluminum spool gun, but I don't have a use for that right now. It's permanently wired in here, and it has an additional control panel that runs the spool gun that switches between the feeders, spool and regular, and the internal feeders. So now that I've got it switched to when I tried it out, the spool gun worked fine. I turned it on at the guy's house and zapped on some aluminum and made sure the thing worked and its ranges changed. But I didn't realize at the time he just supposedly switched the switch, I think, to make it switch to the internal wire feeder. And I have use for the internal wire feeder, obviously, so I got a bunch of steel to weld here. So I'm going to plug this thing in now that it's switched to regular feed, and we're going to see if it comes to life. Move this 220 cord over here. See, we're in. Now then, snapper on. It runs. You know that. That fan sounds really healthy. I guess I'm gonna have to let it speed. Give that fan some attention. Is this unhappy? Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to lubricate that fan. Maybe put a bearing in it. Listen to it for a second. Well, let's see if she juices here. Here the contact, and the wire feeder is feeding. Awesome. But, come on. Wow, that's awful. That fan, but it runs. So the next step is to put some wire in it, hook up a ground clamp, put some metal in front of it, and see if it zaps. Right now I've got this thing just now, I just put a 35 thousandths tip on it because I am originally going to run this thing on 45 thousandths wire, but for heavier stuff, and retain my little buzz box for doing sheet metal and whatnot. But for now, I have a roll of 035, and the feed rollers on this go back and forth between 35 and 45, so it'll happily feed this 35. I did notice, and I was messing with it yesterday, I'm missing the nut right here that holds the roller on, holds the spool, excuse me, on. So we'll just replace that with a hose clamp. A little tip if you've never thought of this, anytime you have to use a hose clamp, if it's got a hex on it, like these ones do, use a nut driver. Where you're not using a screwdriver that's slipping off constantly and just ruining your life. Now let's see. We can do this without unspooling half a spool of wire. Oh, do I have a cutter? I do. Hopefully the liner in this thing is in good shape. I know nothing about this welder. it was, when I say it was too good to pass up, I got this, which is a 200 amp MIG, and this old Airco Dip-Paks have a great reputation. Everyone I talked to who was an old school welder was like, oh, that thing will run forever. That's just what I want. Good 200 amp welder that's gonna run and keep running. So, got wire in it. We'll see if it feeds it through or if it makes a big mess. And with that, I got a 315 amp Hobart TIG welder. And it's always been a little bit of a dream of mine to have a TIG. And I never thought I'd be able to get one that was a good machine that I could afford. And of course you can buy all these cheap Chinese ones now. It'll work if you're just trying to fool around. But I wanted a serious TIG so that if I actually get good at TIGging, I could do some heavy work. And that's 315 amp commercial Hobart. It's made to be like crane lifted into a building. It's quite a machine. Oh, that fan is awful. I am sorry for the sound of that fan. Wow. Okay, put the gun in it, man. There it goes. Nice. Oh, I gotta tighten my feet down a little bit. But also check to make sure I didn't put it on the 45,000 roller. Woo, nice. That sounds as good as that fan. Look like this tension's actually even adjustable. I think I did. So put the roller in last. Put it in last night when I was messing around. I think I put it in backwards. Oh yeah, that's on the. It's on the 45,000s. I figured it was. I wasn't looking at it, and I figured if you were looking at the 45,000s, then that would line it up on the feed, but it's the opposite. If you see the 45, you're actually lining up the wire with the 35,000s. I'm surprised it fit all the way down the gun with that. So far, so good. Back down. All right. So that wire needs to be clipped off wire cutters. Out, clip it, that's it right there. Pull this wire out. Hopefully it doesn't line up that way. So, oh I see. Yeah. Spinning in the 45,000s drive slot. Chewed up the end of the wire pretty good. I'm making myself a problem here. Just pull it back off so I can get to the little snarl of nasty chewed up melted wire and flux that is sitting. Hopefully I don't have a junk line. That would suck. Probably rusty, now that I think about it. Filling it up with some compressed air would help. Let's see. Put some brake cleaner through it. Because reasons. Yeah. See that in, but I can. See if I can get brake cleaner squirt out there. Nope. Got a seal on that to blow it. fire it up. Cut that, put the tip back on. Find a ground clamp and see if this thing zaps. And then, assuming it runs, pull the back cover off, fix that fan. Some feeding issues. Maybe it will come out of it. Feeding all right. Well, right. Let's shut it off. Put a ground clamp on it. Doesn't have its ground cable hooked up right now. Between the two big welders, I only got one cable. That's over here, which is TIG. There's that sucker. It did separate it out yesterday. I was messing around with this thing last night, trying to prep for this video. As you can tell by this high quality video that I'm shooting here, I did a lot of prep. Anyway, and then, here's the ground. I see a lug on the end of it. Just find a piece of steel about the same one we tested the plasma on. Just point it right here. Set up here, make sure you can see it. Another pro tip, if you haven't replaced the plastic shields on your welding glass in a while, oh, do it. What a difference. Night and day, couldn't see what the hell I was doing. Let's start this on 3. I have no idea what the ranges are. There's a medium range, and right in the middle of the voltage setting, I guess. Why not? I would call that success. just wanted to make sure that the thing ran and consistently and it fed wire. And it does. I could not be happier because I paid $400 for the pair of these welders. That's right. I said that. I said 400 bucks. I mean, it was just a screaming deal. I bought so much other stuff from this guy that you're going to see soon. I got some golf carts from him. Paid, I think, $300 for the golf carts, and then fixed one and turned it over for, I think, 800 bucks. Kept the other two. One of them's got a snowmobile engine in it. We're going to play with that soon. But this has been a long time coming. I've needed this, and this is going to open up, just like that plasma cutter, this is going to open up some fairly large possibilities, because now I can fabricate quarter and half inch without having to resort to stick welding. And that thing right there, that Hobart, if that works as it's supposed to, that's an absolute monster. It's a 315 amp AC DC welding power supply that's also a high frequency TIG. I've got the torch, I've got everything but hookups and regulators for the gas, everything to use it theoretically. I've just never TIGged before. I've done a lot of MIG, I've done quite a lot of stick when I was a kid, but TIG is going to be a new experience, and I'm going to see about learning that. I got a friend that TIG welds for a living, a couple of them actually. I may see if I can get one of them to come and give me some lessons right here on the channel, and maybe you can learn too right along with me. So I gotta clean up this mess, and then we're gonna put this thing to work. I've got some welding to do on this FJ right here. That's the current shop project for the next week or so, and it's time to start doing some fabricating. Now we're ready to do it. So. Update. So the big Airco here was an absolute success. This thing is great. It welds awesome. It's laying down pretty good beads now, but not without an update. And that update is the flux core does not work worth a damn in this machine, for what I'm doing at least. So I'll save the flux core for the little weld pack, which has served me well forever. And this Dip-Pak is now running. One of the nice things about this industrial machine versus portables is it takes 40-pound spools. So, man, a lot of condensation in here. This thing's now got a 40-pound spool of 45 thousandths solid wire. And I'm running with gas. We put a gas tip on it. I've got the bottle off it right now. Just went and got a bottle. So it's welding a ton better. I also figured out as I was messing with this thing, it was missing the nut for the middle of the spindle, and I couldn't find one anywhere, so I just did this. I cut a piece of, I can't spin it around, piece of exhaust pipe with a bent tab so the spool can't slide off, slotted it so that it could, cut it so that it would expand enough to fit over the spool, and it fits it over the spindle and into the spool, and then I just put a hose clamp inside here that clamps it down and keeps the spool from falling off the spindle. So it's working really good now. Not the prettiest welds ever. I used to run one of these type of machines all the time. I got pretty good with it, but I'm very rusty. But that'll do for now. This is just filler underneath the cross member mounts that are going to be in here. So hopefully by the time I'm done, I'll have remembered how to weld, and these will be looking much better. So there's that. That's the actual end of the welder video, because it didn't work out on the flux core at all. And it's not really a big surprise. I should have known better. If I'd asked anybody, they would have told me, but how I am, I don't. But here it is. If you're into a lot of welding and you want something serious, you don't want a little portable machine. I mean, this Weld-Pak 100, I've literally had this thing for 20 years, about 20 years, 20, maybe close to 25. I got that about the time I moved here. And this thing has worked awesome. I did burn it out because I run it on screech all the time, all the way up, and I burnt the diodes out of it once. So I oversized the diodes, and when I put new ones back in it, now it welds great. So that's going to stay with the 35 thousandths flux core, running on 110, can be taken outside and welded with whenever I need to. It works good. So now I've got a big shop welder. If you're looking for something serious that stays at home, that's the thing to do. These old machines are a bargain. I literally paid 200 bucks for this one, another 200 bucks for that giant Hobart TIG. And it cost me about 25 bucks in consumables to set this thing up to make it work again, and it works beautifully. Plus I scored and got a spool gun. If you buy that separately, that's a $200 or $300 upgrade to get the used one usually, and the new ones are very expensive. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, folks.